Join Dalton and Jacob as they discuss the ever-changing world of trading card games. TCG Buzz starts now.
What's up, Buzz Squad? It's your boy Dalton, back at it again with the ginger.
Oh boy, this is my favorite time of the year.
Is it?
The beginning, before everything goes wrong.
That's true. That's true.
So we have this annual tradition stretching back, 2 years now? We did
2 years, yeah.
For 2018 and 2019 of discussing our favorite game, Buddy Fight, and contextualizing it into looking forward to the next year type.
And kind of like a little recap.
You could probably get that by the title of the video, but I like over-explaining things.
That's fair. That's fair.
First, briefly, I want to say that things are so different for us covering Buddy Fight and other card games this year compared to every previous year. We're in a new studio.
I don't know if you can tell.
We're doing these episodes as their entire own show instead of just this is a live stream.
Right.
TCG Talk. Awesome. And also, we've got way more subscribers now.
Right.
We're over 2,000.
2,000
Pretty
strong.
Sweet. I think we were excited last year about getting up to 1,100.
Something like that.
Something like that. So we've gained a lot of subscribers and are only going to gain more because you out there, you're going to subscribe, right?
Subscribe. Right? You can support us on Patreon.
New to this year, we're also doing a State of Dragon Ball Super in 2020. So look forward to that, unless it's already out. And in that case, there'll be a card on screen.
That's yeah. So yeah, let's get it over into this State of Buddy Fight. We kind of talked about the state of TCG Buzz being in new studio, which is looking nice, crispy, clean. So how do we want to start this? Where do we want to start? Do we want to talk about?
I think the best way to start this is, clearly we're calling it the State of Buddy Fight. We got to base it off of the State of the Union address, right? And the first sentence is always the State of the Union is good or bad, right?
It is.
We got that binary choice.
I'd say it's bad.
Yeah.
I'd say it's bad. Even though I think it's more mixed, but we have to go.
It is definitely somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
But if you go back and watch our video from last year, we were so optimistic. I think more than any other year in the game's history, we were excited because we went from the bad format that was X
to something fresh that seemed new and exciting.
Except for the fact that they screwed us out of playing in Ace in the beginning. That sucked. But if you had to just blanket rate the game right now on a scale from 1 to 10 on how Bushiroad's doing.
I'd give it I'll give it a few different ratings. I'll give 1 on how Bushiroad's doing and 2 how I feel the game state is.
Okay.
Bushiroad is a 2. Bushi, gotta step your game up. You're doing something wrong. Game state, just because it's me, if you ask some of our other friends, they'd probably disagree with where I'm going to put it. But I think game state-wise, it's around a 5 or a 6. So, a 5.5. It's nothing too extraordinary, but there's going to be those problem decks. But what do you think?
I think this will spoil my thoughts for later a little bit. But for Bushiroad's handling of the game, I'm going to give him a 6.5. We'll get to it.
Okay.
That's going to be in the wrap-up summary part.
Okay.
Jacob likes to leave the big things till the end.
Okay.
And then for the actual current state of gameplay, 1.5.
So we're a little different there. I think gameplay's all right. You think it's terrible. I think Bushi's terrible, and you think it's all right. What?
Yeah.
What's up with that?
We can't agree on anything today.
So you want to go into what happened with this past year?
Yeah.
A year that was supposed to be the high that ended up being the WTF, in my mind at least.
Let's start with the big thing that Buddy Fight fans are probably most mad about. The one thing that anytime Bushiroad posts something on the Buddy Fight Facebook page or puts out a video on their YouTube channel, the one thing people talk about, where's the anime?
It's on hiatus. That's what they say. We're still getting cards and stuff, so they have plans. We're still getting art for characters, so that means they have a plan.
What sucks about it is without the anime, and we've talked about the loss of the anime before, but without the anime, it's really sad because this is what I really wanted to see out of Ace. We're finally getting to see more of the old characters as adults, right? Mm-hmm. They're doing these like little story sections connecting the new characters to the old and some really cool stuff like that, right? But we don't get to see that. You can read it maybe, or you can buy the manga if you can find it.
Right, or you just gotta speculate. Fan fiction. Yay.
It's funny because I've been a kind of a critic of the anime before, right? I'm like, I stopped watching around X, and I really never started. No, I stopped watching during Triple D.
Let's be realistic here.
And I'm still sad to see it gone.
That was a good time because it also helps bring in new players, and it also keeps the fan base there.
Yeah.
It was like eventually the fan base is going to disappear, kind of.
Plus, I miss all the screenshots that get turned into memes.
Oh, the thumbnails, man. Oh.
Yeah, that's another thing. We don't get cool thumbnails anymore for the channel for like when we do videos.
Unless we do an old art type, then we could probably do it. And then we don't get our memes. The memes. Glorious memes.
I guess I will say, even though the anime is gone, we have had a relatively healthy amount of new players coming into the game just from anecdotal evidence.
Right.
And I think that's twofold. One, it's because there have been a lot of recent archetypes that I think would be very attractive to a new player. Mm-hmm. You know, new players tend to gravitate to decks that do cool things. Yep. And I think we have a lot of decks like that do cool things.
Do a lot of cool things, or they're players from other card games, and they get interested in a deck because it plays similar to one of their favorite decks in their other game.
Right.
So.
And then the second reason, which I'm opening the floodgates, Dalton, is because of the crossover booster sets.
Ooh, the crossover sets. That's a statement, but I could see it for Conan. I don't know about Bang Dream.
I think it's probably the reverse. I think there are way more. Oh no, Jacob. You know that voice you're supposed to have in your head that says, don't say that? Yeah, I don't have one of those. All those sweaty neckbeards from Vanguard and Weischwartz see that Bang Dream's in Buddy Fight now, so they flock to it.
No comment.
And normal people too, but
I get where you're coming from. There's a little bit more love for Bang Dream and Idol Masters.
And then there's the... I'm only preferencing this with the English stuff. We're looking at this from American viewpoints, you know. There's also the Sword Art Online set.
That will be coming out. Which SSS Gridman comes out first, right?
No, I don't think we get it.
We're not getting SSS?
No.
Sorry. Sorry.
We started off this year super positive, and then it seemed like we had a 1, 2, 3 punch of just bad after bad after bad.
More like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Are we at 100 yet?
Maybe. First of all, you can go back and watch our original episode where we reacted to the crossover sets. We weren't too
just
positive
announced.
about it. And I think some people were pretty defensive over that. They like them, which, you know, everyone's got the right to their own opinion. Mm-hmm. But I've noticed that opinion change as they've come out, and we've gotten, you know, within maybe 9 months, Japan's gotten 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them.
Something like that.
It's pretty clear they're using them as a crutch because they don't have the anime to fuel sales, so they're reaching outside for sales, which I don't mind happening once or twice. You know, Vanguard had the Token Rambo stuff, and I thought that was a really cool sidestep, you know, and doing something a little different.
But they only did that twice for Vanguard.
Right. Buddy Fights had 7 within under a year.
I would almost say in under 6 months.
Yeah.
It feels like.
Pretty close.
But also, My major problem with it is there hasn't been a Vanguard one, yet we have promo cards, or at least Japan does, for this. And, well, you really can't do anything with Y Schwartz because Y Schwartz is just crossovers card game. There's no Vanguard crossover set. Like, your biggest market that could potentially happen, you haven't crossed that over into your secondary, third, whatever you want to call it, game.
As much... I get it. Everyone's got series they love that they'd love to see crossed over. I mean, Japan's got the Metabots one announced, and like I would totally buy that, despite how adamant I am that crossover sets are not a good thing for this game. I'd still buy it, you know?
Yeah, because it's kind of proven with just Conan and Bang Dream. I don't know how well Idolmasters has been doing yet in America, even though it's out. Conan comes out. It starts topping. It's kind of what you suspect because they want to make sure it's relevant. But as soon as Bang Dream came out, Conan kind of disappeared. You still had the occasional players who knew how to
down
play.
In the tiers a little bit.
They moved down.
But they still had representation.
But Bang Dream's up there now. So I don't know if that's the same with Idolmasters. I'd have to check, or you guys can let us know in the comments down below if Idolmasters has done that to Bang Dream. But it now just seems like, okay, we have crossover set, new crossover set, old one dies off, basically, new one's up top, and kind of this cycle.
They're all definitely a little pushed.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of suspected, because they need to be that good, but the fact that they're all, in a sense, seeming like one-hit wonders is not the greatest.
Do you know what my biggest problem with them is, though? My number one biggest problem with the crossover sets is how they inherently work. Because they're standalone flags with all their support in one set, right?
Right.
And usually not that many cards. You know, they're usually the small, like, ultimate booster size, right? And you can't use generic cards.
For reasons, which is a good thing.
Which I think is kind of a good thing because it lets them experiment a little more without having to realize. But you also can't use Drag Odds or Omni Lords. They're completely segregated on their own.
Which is a good thing in my opinion.
Here's the one problem with that. It makes deck building incredibly boring. Gameplay,
yeah, well,
they're mostly fine.
Well, Conan, I think, was probably the best out of this because you technically had 2 decks in it, but you can still mix them, so you can still do some cool things with Conan. Bang Dream, though, it's kind of like, well, you play this attribute within it, or this one, or this one, or this one, or this one. You can't really mix them, unfortunately. And then kind of the same thing with Idolmasters is kind of this attribute, that's the one you have to focus with. The rest of them, their own deck.
As a player who loves interesting, unique sideboard cards and fun tech-ins and engine swaps and mixing archetypes and all that type of stuff that makes deck building fun and exciting. I mean, look at what I played in the last regional season. Super weird deck, right?
Yeah, too bad you couldn't do anything with it.
Yeah, but you don't get any of that with any other crossovers.
Right.
Any. At all. And for the most part, it's, you know, a set list is fully announced and everyone's net decked it.
Yep. All right.
Yeah. All right, we could talk about the crossovers literally for the next 2-3 hours, but
something like
let's
that.
move on to some of the other stuff. We're going to cover the negatives first, right? As we already have been.
Because it's the biggest.
But yeah, it is. I want to talk about the standard gameplay of Buddy Fight.
No, I thought you were going to go into set size.
Oh, not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Well, sure, we'll cover that because it's a more minor thing.
Okay.
With Ace, we had a reduction in the number of cards in a standard main booster set by about, 25%?
Give or take.
Or so.
Yeah. Like
Usually
that.
they're about 3/4 the size that they used to be. And at first I thought that was kind of a cool idea, making it easier for people to pull what they wanted.
Yep.
But then my opinions changed on that. Because honestly, I thought they were only going to do it for a little while. I didn't really know if it was a permanent thing. And here's my stance on it. I think they should do it for the first booster set in a season. Because I think it's a great way to help people get into the game easier. Like when we were buying, what's the first set? Gargantua Awaken. It was really easy to build all the decks out of it. But the problem is, for me, I feel the number of cards is reduced so much that it's a lot harder to make the sets feel special.
Mm-hmm.
And you get a lot less variety in boxes. So I buy a box and you buy a box. Chances are 90% of our boxes is exactly the same.
No, they're not. See, Jacob, you tried to compare me to you.
Oh, yeah. Well, take two people who aren't us.
Because
Dalton pulled 3 secret packs, a Buddy Rare, 2 SPs, and a completely blank error card. And I pulled 30 packs of gummy slimes.
Exactly. Come on. I don't mind the smaller sets. I know you kind of don't like them. I'm perfectly fine with them. But the problem with them, in my opinion, is the fact that they seem to be turning over new sets faster and faster. So it's like, cool, one set, we got this, right? And then also next set changes the meta, and then completely new meta, new cards, prices are going all over the place for secondary market. And it looks like they do a lot more short printing of cards. Like certain destroyers, still really expensive. Like certain cards.
I feel it's a little... how do I explain this? I feel the cards that were cut are the interesting cards. Because overall, go back and watch any of our overviews this season. Almost every set, I'm like, yeah, this set's fine. Right?
Yeah, I feel like the cards that were cut were just pushed off into another one. Mm-hmm. But maybe because if they would have come out earlier, they would have either been way too strong or they would have been just right. Like, there was no, like, intermediate there. So, like, you can never tell which one's going to be just right for that time frame. So it's kind of hard, so it's better just cut it out. Right. But at the same time, why not just throw it in? Sure, this deck's going to be super powerful and all that good stuff. But the next set should balance it out at that point. And then it should mellow out, won't be crazy, and everything kind of works its way back in. It was kind of like how Max Dragons were. They came out, swinging hard, strong deck, fantastic. Then they got their second wave of support, which was really like one card. It was really like 2 or 3. I don't remember exactly, but you only cared about the spell null. Then it was still there, but then the very next set, it was just killed off because of one specific card. But it was killed off because everyone just kind of got scared of it. And they're like, yeah, I don't know if I could do that.
Another minor thing, while I'm on the more minor things, it's been well over a year since Gargantua Awaken was released, right?
Yeah.
That double rare foiling, still hot garbage.
The foils, though? Hot.
Yeah.
Extra spicy. Very good foils.
I really hope with whatever comes next, we do get a new double rare foiling.
Yeah, double rare foiling is a little lackluster. It works for some cards, and can we get back All-Star Dragon World Border?
That'd be cool.
Even though that was an X thing, but, you know.
Okay, so the next thing I want to bring up is the big picture, general gameplay.
Okay. What about general gameplay or meta?
This is one of the worst metas we've ever had.
The fact that it kept changing, not evolving, changing each set.
That's part of it. I feel very few decks got to stay relevant and evolved over time. Mm-hmm. There are some exceptions. I think LDOs and Astro Dragons have both had a very interesting path throughout this season.
They've had a really interesting path. The only one to really shine, though, was Astros. LDOs have always been in the shadow, unfortunately. No matter how much some of our fellow creators hate a certain card from LDOs. But yeah, Astro Dragons, I feel like, grew really strong. They started off weak, but they grew strong. LDOs grew at a very steady pace. Nothing overwhelming, but also they've always been kept in check. Garga is a complete and utter...
Oh, we'll have an entire subsection just for Garga.
Oh, perfect. Cool. I can hold on that.
Okay.
I could go through all the
I'm going to be totally, completely honest here, and some people might not like this, but when have I been one to care what other people think of me, right?
One time at that other place.
I think current Ace gameplay. I think early Ace gameplay was pretty great because it was very varied with the number of decks, but right around set 3, things started to turn.
Which is the typical point for Buddy Fight is
By
like set 3 is kind of
set 4. I started to realize there were big problems, and every release since has made them worse.
Yes.
So I'm going to say this: I do not like how Buddy Fight plays right now.
What, you don't like
At
the
all.
aggro?
It's not just the aggro. I like it so little that the deck I played at multiple regional events was specifically designed to not play the game.
That's true. That is true.
Do you know why?
Because that's basically what it is now.
It's a 3-point complaint. 1, every deck feels the same.
Yeah.
They do. Like, sure, you get some variety a little bit in strategy, but so many decks are just, I do slightly different steps to get to the same oppressive board with multi-attacking aggro big crits. Complaint number 2, decks have no variety in them anymore. Every deck, and again, I generalize, but pretty much every deck does one thing only. Back in the old days of Buddy Fight, Season 1, Season 2, Season 3, decks had a focus, but they still were all jacks of all trades.
Right.
Right?
I could argue for LDOs being the only one that's different, but
Right,
that's
they've
just
got a
because
little bit of variety.
You can play 2 different versions of the deck.
But so many decks have one singular,
They have one
Goal.
goal in mind, and that's all they care for.
and that's all they do. The biggest deck that annoys me at this is Messiah Arms. Because they're dragon hate, right? But that's what I put in those extra steps. It's just a little added flavor to generic big board, aggro, triple attacking, big crit. You can't rest my things, you can't destroy my things deck.
What? What you talking about? My sidearms are single-minded.
And there are so many even decks I like fall into that category. I enjoy playing the terrible the room of Buddy Fight decks that is Genesis Dragons. And you know what? On the games that they are playing well, that's what they do. They're just big board multi-attacking, you can't destroy my things.
Yeah. But, like, there's also the other problem of it's overflooded with aggro. Like, there is no this, like, a wall deck, a control deck, a mid-range. Like, there was glimpses of this, like, Legend Dragons. Because the way I was playing the original build before you got the third buddy was more mid-rangey. I wanted to be a little bit more control-y. Yes, I can go aggro if need be, but I wanted to control. But then their second wave of support was like, yeah, no, you're going aggro. It's that simple. All right.
The deck that I think showcases that the best, outside of Legend Dragons, which are a great example, Prism Dragons.
Yes, a wall deck from X
Prism Dragons
gets
make
new
me
support.
so mad.
Gets new support, which is nice.
Okay.
Fantastic getting support.
I gotta say, this isn't like me being a tilted player who's upset because I lost to Prism Dragons, right? No. I think they're fundamentally damaging the game because it's a wall deck that's also
An
aggro deck, which already is a problem, but it also has disruption elements and control elements. It has everything. And it's all, you can't destroy my things, you can't rest my things, you can't move my things, you can't. You can't even read my cards.
You want to interact with my board? Yeet.
And issue number 3, issue number 1 was everything plays the same. Issue number 2 is everything has just one singular goal, right?
Yeah.
And issue number 3 is Garga.
Well.
Yeah, take it away.
Well, before we get into Garga, the whole second issue of everything being the same, like Genesis Dragon's another wall-esque deck, but aggro, that has no good support behind it, as in, like, advantage gaining. Yes, there's some neat cards when you get the full board setup, but that's that full board setup that you have troubles with, right?
So, I actually do have a separate number 3. See, when I was going through and I was about to say what it was, it disappeared from my head. I've totally forgot it, so I replaced it with Garga because I also want to talk about that.
We can talk about Garga.
I just remembered it.
But let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
You could get there. You could get there.
Go ahead.
Like, there are some decks that are really cool and so forth, but some older decks that you kind of suspect, because, like, Fifth Omni's got support. And our first thought was, yeah, Fifth Omni's going to start showing up in the meta. for the first time, Fifth Omnis got support and didn't show up in the meta, which was a nice change. But at the same time, I think the meta was too fast for Fifth Omnis. The meta is far too fast for decks that survive in a more mid-rangey area like Fifth Omnis, or completely slow-paced like Size 3 Osmodai. They just... I gave you a little love.
Rest in peace, Black Dragons.
Black Dragons are different because they still have the speed for it.
Yeah.
Because they still show up every once in a while. But even some newer decks like ECs, yes, you can play them. You can do the whole Lost World Turbo variant of them. But the main gimmick that I play them for, because I don't play Lost World in my variant, because I don't want to be playing Lost World and everything. And that's one of the things that Bryce always says is Lost World's a crutch. And like, that's because you let it be. But that's me. I feel like I can get by it. And then your third thing before I get into Garda.
Third thing, before I forget it again.
Stop hitting the table.
I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I need to give a compliment to Cardfight Vanguard. Okay.
As in the game?
Yeah.
What's this compliment?
The compliment's how much better it does something than Buddyfight.
What's this?
So the problem is Buddyfight's been increasingly aggro, and the power creep's been pretty extreme.
Yeah.
But, it is a path, right? It's been going on since the beginning of the game. It's not a new thing. Mm-hmm. The problem is it's been so exponential since X that our defensive cards have had to catch up. Yeah. Because there was an entire time frame from mid-X to almost now where shields were unusable.
I still kind of think they are, but that's besides the point.
Mostly they are. So the problem is they've been replaced. What's the most common form of stopping your opponent's aggro?
Great spell Winter.
That's a good one. You're make it a little. Enders. Yes, that's it. That's it. Or what's the other one?
Can't stand cards.
Well, resting.
Well,
was what I was going for.
But you have anti-rest.
Right.
That's the thing.
So
it's the negates.
In general, it's resting or ending the phase. And do you know what the problem with that is? It's I win the game unless you stop me with one card. So the compliment to Cardfight Vanguard here is despite the fact that Cardfight Vanguard's seen power creep after power creep for years, as naturally happens with card games, they've kept the defensive side of the game interesting. Last regionals, I was sitting viewing one of our friends, Tanner, play a game at regionals after I was done.
Standard or premium?
I don't
think it was standard.
I think it was standard, yeah. And he and his opponent were doing math and calculating, and it was all about card advantage and wasting several cards to block something. And there was so much strategy involved. And it made me kind of jealous. I remember when Buddyfight had strategy involved. It was, when do I block an attack? When do I not? When do I use this counter up? When don't I? Instead, there's no thought process to the defense side of Buddyfight anymore.
There's defense in Buddyfight?
Not enough.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. The whole strategy side of it. Because the last team league that we did, right?
Yep.
I don't know where this is going to go out exactly, but the last team league that we did that I played Dimension Dragons because I'm like, I don't know what I want to play. I'll play a random deck, whatever. I had no thought process. I just kind of played the deck. I'm like, all right, cool. I won every single one of my matches except for like one. Oh, no. But like, there's no thought process in that. There's no thought process in the new Legend Dragons. They're just straight aggro. It's like, okay, I do all resource gain, and now I swing. You dead yet? No? Okay. Astro Dragons, it's set up field for my formations. Also, aggro down. You dead yet? No? Okay. LDOs, it's build up souls or build up board state and go swing. You dead yet? No? Okay.
A lot of people complain about Lost World, but I actually like Lost World for one big reason. Yes, the cards are pushed and they're powerful, but I find when a player, or especially when both players are in Lost World, you get that old school card advantage and board presence and the defensive planning in the games that you don't otherwise get.
Right.
Now, obviously, there's going to be occasional games where your opponent goes into Lost World and then proceeds to curb stomp you through to the center of the earth, but hey.
There's that. I also agree with the whole fact that Lost World's not the problem. Even though people will disagree, I don't think it was the problem. The problem with Lost World was its paywall. Of it's secret pack. You need secret pack cards. You need triple rares. You need secret packs. Triple rares, secret packs. Okay, you get this stuff. Also secret pack.
I feel that Lost World gets the hate. It's like the lightning rod for it. But over in the corner, you have the actual sinister villain, which is the Dragon World Dimension Dragons. You know, that's the part of the deck you should be hating, because there are other Lost World decks that are really fun to play with or against. Mm-hmm. It's the Dimension Dragons that are the problem.
Because it's just so easy to get into it, yeah.
Garga.
Bushi, what the heck is Garga? I don't even know what it does. G-Evo was really cool. Don't get it twisted. G-Evo was nice.
Especially with the cool deity.
Yeah.
Once you're able to do all worlds with it, and it becomes really fun, reliant really on who your buddy was, mm-hmm. It was really cool. And it created interesting deck design.
And then we got base. G-Base or whatever. G-Boost Base. It's like, okay, like this is kind of cool, but we're going to go back to G-Evo, right? Or you're going to stick with this base thing. Because if we stick at base, that's fine. That's cool. Oh, no, next set you introduce new version of Boost, being Craft. Then next set introduce new version of Boost, of Heart. What is this? This is the whole Sun Dragon.
The English names are really dumb, first of all.
Yes.
Because in Japan, they're mind, body, and soul. And actually have a theme to them.
No, I think...
Or something like that.
I think the last one was like Technique or something.
I remember.
Ours Technique... I don't remember what the first one was. But yeah.
I'm going to have to explain how bad this is.
It's having the Sun Dragon effect. Where Sun Dragon started off as, we want to keep an open set. We want you to have, my opponent to have an open center. Okay, now we're a link attack deck. Okay, now we're a self-mill deck. Okay, now we're just like a balls delay deck.
So setting aside the G-Boost deck that combines all three together for a moment.
Yes.
Here's two problems with it. No, three problems. One, they're all incredibly unoriginal. I complained about the first one, the Knight version.
The Knight? Here, let's give everything a million
as saying,
power.
This is just standard aggro for the 17th time. And then we got it 2 more times right after in back-to-back sets. Mm-hmm. Issue number 2, they're terrible investments for players.
Yeah, especially if they get switched out super fast.
Right, like... I would not give one of those decks to a new player because they're not going to be able to build and expand on that and have their deck grow with them because it's going to be replaced with the new hotness. It's like Apple with iPhones if a new iPhone came out every week.
The one thing I do give Bujiro credit for on their whole indecisiveness on Garga is a majority of the Dragon Deity Tribe cards supporting it have been generic to just having the word G boost on it and not the extra stuff, so you can still use them with everything else so they don't get disappeared. Well, and then still giving them the very specific ones that you have to use with them.
Yeah.
Right? But which is a nice thing, so you can kind of almost do a deck swap with it.
But it's funny because none of them were all that good either. Like the first one saw an okay amount of play.
Right, but it's just like I swing big at you.
But the other two, no.
Second one's just I swing a lot. The third one was, I think, the coolest of the three because
I agree. I think it's the most interesting.
It's like I'm gonna Dragon Emperor Legend a bunch. I'm gonna stack resources.
If it was the only one, I might not be complaining about it right now.
Exactly. If it was the only one, it might have been cool, but it wasn't.
Even with the cool parts, it's 80% of it is still exactly the same. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm done with the Garga. Do you have anything else to add with that?
Done with the Garga.
Oh, wait. One more thing. What happened to giving us Otherworld Gargas? You guys did that for like 1.5 sets, and now it's gone.
I mean, the end of the season?
Yeah.
Because let's be real. That was basically it. It was just Season 1 Ace ended, because that's kind of when the anime went on its hiatus, was at the end of Ace, you could say.
We still have several worlds we haven't gotten a Garga for, and I actually kind of want to see them.
Yes, this is true. But also you have the whole problem of, okay, now I lost my train of thought. No. So we had end of Season 1. Now we're in Season 2, technically. That's what we've dubbed it, Ace 2.
Right.
Ace 2.
Ace 2, they should have just marked it as a separate season when we
Right.
hit Draw Night.
Yes, they should.
Is it Draw Night or Drock Night that
Or
was
Drago.
the set?
They're basically the same outside of a letter and a space.
Right. That
Also,
confuses me.
Another thing that's very minute, but that was stupid, Bushi. But yeah, they should have remarketed it as Ace 2, kind of like how X2 was. Because that's honestly where we're at right now. This is Ace 2. This is the second generation. It's supposed to be like the 100 season where it expands on the old stuff with new stuff kind of coming in, but also expanding on the older stuff to keep them relevant. But it's also a whole and complete cluster in itself. Then, how is this going to end? This, our dubbed Ace 2. Is it going to be ending soon? Or is it going to be coming up next year? Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of uncertainty there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know, are we going to get a new Ace season with a new anime? Or are we going to get like a full reboot? Are we gonna,
right.
You know, I don't know. All right, so I want to go through real quick some general positives and negatives. Specifically,
Well, we just did all this negative
Right,
stuff,
hang
so
on.
let's do some good.
Specifically, I want to talk about Bushiroad's execution of the season, not the actual gameplay.
Their execution was very, very poor.
I thought it was pretty good.
Now, what made you think it was
Okay.
good? What made you
So,
think it was
positives. One, Bushiroad has taken more feedback from players in Ace than every other season of Buddyfight combined.
good? Ooh. Yes and
You
no.
get monthly surveys,
Yes and no.
additional surveys with prizes. I don't care about the prizes, but
I agree on the whole survey front, but I also have problems of them not listening to their players on other things. Because that's one thing we didn't talk about in the bads. Their regular list.
we'll get to that.
Okay.
A good thing with that is I've noticed a couple positive changes, like the fact that we got a reprint set. That's
I have other problems with that, but that's
amazing.
the point.
In general, that is amazing
Yes,
and is so
it's great.
healthy for the game.
It's great. It is very good. It's fantastic that we have this reprint set. That there's other problems with it.
You just don't like some of the details of it.
Some of the cards shouldn't have been reprinted. Other cards were snubbed. Yingleguard, why were you not reprinted in this? I don't care if you were in a deck.
It makes
still
me
expensive.
excited for another one.
Yes, this is true. I am kind of excited for that. The binder thing, though, I think was a complete... Like, it was a
Yeah.
smart idea. Some of the cards were needed, but at the same time, it feels horrible.
Yeah.
And, like, this is kind of goes down to our locals, where they couldn't even order it because their distributor, none of the other stores that they distribute to even ordered it. So they just said, yeah, no, we're not going to bring it in. So it's like, it seems like people are kind of getting away from it.
Another positive, which some people might consider not a positive, right? But in my opinion, it is. Promos. Specifically, two things.
Easier access or...
Them being better in general and actually
Yes.
being playable. Mm-hmm. We've got way more promos that were playable this season than previous seasons, which some people
I
might
think
see
I'm
that
sorry,
as a
towards
negative.
The end of X was kind of...
Yeah. And two, Bushiroad's shown that they're paying attention and actually reprinting promos. We've gotten
A select
lot.
few, yeah.
The actual number is
A lot higher than most.
Yes, yeah. And that's a incredibly good thing
Mm-hmm.
for players who don't have access to that.
Right. It gives you access. Like Buddy Block getting reprinted was a very nice reprint. Still looking for that recovery veil. Loyalty be reprinted twice now? Or 3 times?
A lot.
A lot.
Well, that wasn't a promo.
Which isn't bad. Was it not a promo?
No, it was in...
Oh, you're right. I think it was. Yeah, it wasn't a set. But still, it was a nice card to get reprinted. Just being reprinted.
But, you know, we got Buddy Block reprinted, right?
Yeah.
We got a Holy Magic reprint.
Yep. Holy Magic reprinted.
Stuff like that.
They used to be $30 Dragon Blood Sec card. That's not like $3.
The Godpunk crit reducers
That
got reprinted.
Yep. A lot of good reprints. A lot of cards that should have been reprinted. Good on Bushi for that.
And the third positive I'll give before ending the positives is their YouTube channel.
Is
Outside of having the anime, yes.
It's active.
And I like that.
Sure, it's kind of cringy at times.
Yes.
A lot of the times.
I mean, we're
But
kind of
it's-
cringy at
well,
times.
We know that. But that's why you're here. You're here for the cringe. But they're active. Like, surprisingly active, which is really nice.
What's most important about that to me, besides good resources and helping players learn, is it puts faces behind the brand.
Yes.
And it makes it feel more human.
Now I'm just waiting for the English Buddyfight channel to actually reach out to other channels.
Yeah.
Kind of like, whoa. I'm not saying us. Your head's too big for you.
My number one complaint every year has been that Bushiroad does not do enough with content creators who support their games. Mm-hmm. And guess what? That still stands. I'm not even going to make a big deal about it this year. You guys should know.
But I feel like they're leading up to it with this whole activity on their channel.
Hopefully.
That's outside of the anime. Hopefully, something there. It could be some of the YouTube creators out in like Singapore or even other ones in the US or wherever you're from. But it feels like they're leading up to that eventually, which is...
We're the UK. Cool. We've got a pretty
UK.
cool UK channel now, an Ibo Academy.
Yeah, Ibo Academy is really cool. But it was just kind of a general idea. Like, it feels like they're leading up to it. So, more generally bad, just horribly bad.
Yeah.
Irregular list, I feel like, is the only thing we need to talk about.
Oh, it's so bad.
Because I kind of want to wrap it up. I feel like we're...
Yeah, we do. Well, I don't want to go over specific cards because that's videos for themselves.
So, the only good part about it is things are coming off the irregular list, which is bound to happen because the game's gotten so fast that those cards don't even matter anymore that they're at full copies, and most people got used to it, and their decks work better without it being at full copies anyways.
I'm trying to think of the name of a card.
The Ninja?
No, the Legend World spell for Thunder Empire. Fighter's
Oath.
Oath.
Yeah, Fighter's Oath.
Like, I laugh at that now.
We laugh at it because life don't matter. But the problem with it is, because I think, how many cards got added to it?
In Ace?
Yeah. How many cards got added in the season of Ace?
Okay.
How many cards got added in the season of Ace?
I believe it's a number between -1 and 0.
Okay.
It's 0.
Okay.
It's 0.
And now, all of it's still like X stuff, some things beforehand and so forth. But there's one season, because first season doesn't really matter too much, even though we do have, because you not technically one card, because you have the Ninja, the spell no for Katana World.
Yeah.
But there's one season that sticks out in my head that hasn't had anything banned from it. Or hit, I should say. Not banned, but hit. It begins with an A. I leave a lot to imagination. I don't think there's a single card from Ace.
No, there's none.
There's not a single card.
One. Nope.
And there's...
Nope.
Well, I think we've already done our predictions.
Yeah.
Or our suggestions, I should say.
Uh-huh.
That should be hit. Now it's just a waiting game.
I get that they wouldn't want to do it, in the middle of a competitive season, but they had a good 3-4 month stretch before fall circuit stuff that they could have preactively worked on the ban list, and they've done nothing for it. And it really shows.
Right.
It really, really shows. We need that update. If we don't have an update before Springfest, I will be very disappointed.
Yeah. If there isn't an irregular list, I don't even know if I'll go down for Springfest. I don't know.
All right. Any other things you want to hit?
Just follow us on Instagram. Subscribe. Hit the bell so you never miss out on a video, and hit the bell to get the notifications, though. You can support us by checking our shop or joining our Patreon. Links will be in the description down below. Jacob, anything left from you?
Let us know, either in the comments down below or on our Discord, what things you liked and disliked about this season. Because we've already gone over on our time for this episode.
Yeah, we're only shooting for like 30.
And there are so many more. So I don't know what's important to you.
Right. And I think that basically wraps it up for us.
Yep.
So above all else, stay classy, y'all.
Thanks for listening to TCG Buzz. New episodes can be found on tcgbuzz.com. Don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. For box openings, deck profiles, and more, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.